Hey, good morning from the office. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office. We're North Georgia's only live online morning show. I just want to this. All right, let me get on with the show. I got a text message from Athens. Hey, Brian, this is Miles. That's the only thing I'll say. Hey, Brian, this is Miles. Just wanted to say I've been watching the show in the mornings down here in Athens to help keep up with the news and hearing things that you don't always hear on mainstream. Just wanted to say keep it up and thank you. Football player, maybe I shouldn't say that, football player down there at UGA in Athens, 18 years old. Thank you, Miles. Oh my gosh, that has made, I'm sorry, I got to get started here. I picked the phone up and see that text. Been watching the show down in Athens. Thank you. Love that young man. I'll get a picture maybe of him earlier. Okay, so we got a lot to do today. It's July 3rd, 2020. It's already 8:02. Now, let me just say this. The North Carolina 11th District, Mo Davis, will be on at 9 o'clock. He's the candidate, the Democrat candidate. So let me just give you a couple things. Let's do our there's the ways you can follow us on social media. You can always text the show at that number and give me there you go. Emily, good morning. Yes, it is Friday. We are not at Circuit World. We are not at Sycamore Crossing, downtown Blue Ridge. We are in Studio B. We did want to do a Friday show, but downtown today, a lot of our guests, the doctors, are out of town on vacation. Some of the all-star panel, and one thing after another. So we are bringing you the show here. But here's what I want to do. If you're out there anywhere in America, I want you to stay tuned for a reason today. If you're out there anywhere in America and you're a small town USA, what is your 4th of July, Independence Day, which is actually July 2nd, going to look like? So let me give you 3 races. There may be more, okay? But let me give you 3 races we started several weeks ago, and a little update. Now, we have the 14th Congressional District, which was Tom Graves, okay? Congressman Tom Graves, which retired. It's an open seat, and we don't know who's going to face a Democrat yet. But in the 14th Congressional District, okay, yes, I know about the job. I can hear through the camera. I know about the job numbers. We're going to get there. I'm just telling you some things we got coming up. Number 3 is Marjorie Greene. And Marjorie won like 40% of the vote. Okay. Highest vote getter over in the 14th district with a lot of candidates. But since not winning, but being the top vote getter in the 14th district, Republican primary, let me remind you, Republican primary over there, she has not gotten, I don't think, one day of positive press. Jody Hice, congressman from Georgia, has pulled his endorsement. There's a lot going on with this lady. We have reached out to her campaign. We're waiting to hear back because next week, her opponent, number 32, Dr. Cowan, right? Is this Mr. Cowan, Dr. Cowan? I think his name's John. Don't want to get it wrong. But Dr. Cowan will be on the show next week. They're going through his schedule, but they have confirmed he will be on next week. He is the runoff opponent. Now, he came in a distant second in vote count, but with several phone calls that I have made, it looks as though the negative press may be hurting a little bit in the Green campaign, and Cowan is getting some momentum. Yes, he's moving right along. He's getting the big Mo, okay? Behind the other candidates are getting behind him. So we will talk to him next week. That's the 14th Congressional District of Georgia. We're keeping an eye on that. The other one that we're keeping an eye on is the 9th Congressional District. Now, we do have confirmation from the candidates that they will attend. That's what I was told yesterday. I sent a text message that the candidates did confirm they will attend. We are trying to get the venue secured that we're going to do the debate. But very soon, we should have details Monday. But I was asked last week by Jackson County Republican Party in Georgia to moderate a 9th Congressional District debate. And here's number 34. This is the runoff, number 34. This is Andrew Clyde. He was the second top vote getter amongst several candidates. Andrew Clyde from over in Jackson County. I think he lives in Jackson County. And number 35, State Representative Matt Gertler. Okay. Matt Gertler. I tell you what, will Rand Paul be able to pull him over the finish line? Because there's a pretty good endorsement video for Matt Gertler from Rand Paul that's going around the internet. But anyhow, these are the two candidates, and this is the 9th Congressional District in Georgia to replace Congressman Doug Collins, the 9th Congressional seat here, to replace the vacated seat by Congressman Doug Collins, which is running for Senate. So we will have, I will be moderating a debate with these two candidates. We'll have all the details come Monday. Now, FetcherNews.com has been working in Western North Carolina for several years, sports and news, and we've been growing out there. So we have made all the effort we can to get involved and pay attention to the 11th North Carolina 11th Congressional District. Now, what's important about the 11th Congressional District is a couple things. Number one, this is former Mark Meadows, former head of the Freedom Caucus. Mark Meadows, Western North Carolina, held this seat for several years. He vacated the seat to become Donald J. Trump, President Donald J. Trump's chief of staff. Now that left an opening, and there was a special election, and there was a runoff. And on June 23rd, number 33, Madison Cawthorn, right there, this young man here, he won the runoff, and he is the Republican candidate for this district that now includes all of Asheville, a very liberal area, but he is the Republican candidate. And we had him on the show if you want to get to know him. Now, if you watched him on all the national news networks, he did every single show, but a lot of the liberal networks wanted to talk more about him winning in the 11th District of North Carolina, even over and above the fact that the President of the United States endorsed his opponent, and so did Mark Meadows, the former congressman in the district. That's really what they want to do, is just hype that up. We went a little different direction. We gave you a real good opportunity to meet this guy, stretched out the conversation in a lot of different ways, and it is on our fyntv.com. You can find that under Good Morning from the Office, all right? And now today, we will be at 9:36, okay? We'll be talking to the Democrat opponent in the 11th District. He did not need a runoff. He won right out. North Carolina doesn't have a 50+1. If you're wondering, he won 40% of the vote, I think it is. In North Carolina, you got to get 50% plus one vote to be declared the winner. Not in North Carolina, but Mo Davis is the Democrat candidate in the 11th Congressional District. He will be on with us at 9 in North Carolina 11th. He will be on with us at 9 o'clock. So that's a little bit of what we got going on. Now, let me ask you a couple questions, okay? The media this morning, there's a couple things they don't want to talk about. And one thing we're going to do today is we're going to talk about remember last week I put this picture up, and I should have looked for the picture, okay? But remember last week, Joe Biden said in his press conference, or he said, okay, the presumptive nominee for the Democrat Party, Joe Biden, said that he would give Fauci clear, Dr. Anthony Fauci, clear and total access to the Oval Office. And he will follow the doctor's orders. Remember? He said that. Now, Democrats are struggling because they want you to believe that Donald Trump is so far behind. There's no coming out of it. It's too late. We're in July now. Okay. Now, a lot of the traditional things are gone. Let's just say it like that. A lot of traditional things are gone. It is usually, okay, and I understand why Biden's team is doing this. Give me number 55. Usually, the tradition is you have a I don't know what the Democrats' MO is here. Traditionally, you have a convention. And after the convention, no matter what the candidate, no matter what the party, usually you come out of a convention with a bump in the polls. So sometimes it's 3 points lower, higher, whatever. But the party of the convention always comes out with a bump in the polls. Now, the convention usually, after the convention, that's where the official nominating, and I don't mean to get into too much school type conversation this morning, but at the convention is where you become the actual candidate of the party. You see, you run to be the candidate of the party, and then you get nominated, and then you are the candidate for your party, as however that came out. I don't know how that sounded, but the reality is the convention has always been used to determine the candidate. Okay. And although in modern day politics, we have all that sorted out, and in modern day politics, we have the vice presidential pick already sorted out. It used to be that you had your convention, and once you had your convention, once you had roll call, if I have this right, roll call, which counted the delegates, which made you the official nominee of that party, you then revealed your vice presidential pick somewhere in that convention. And speculation ran high, and there was a reason for all the satellite trucks. It wasn't quite the production back then versus finding out some information about the party. And there was anticipation of finding out who the VP would be. Now, I showed you yesterday, there's my opinion of why the Democrats are having a virtual debate, okay? It's because the crowds, like in New York City with the bullhorn I showed you yesterday, they do not want these Black Lives Matter crowds outside the convention hall in Madison, Wisconsin, asking, hey, why don't you pick a Black Lives Matter representative to be your VP? I mean, that's just a lot of things that are going on that I really believe. Now, usually a convention, you get the 3-point bump. So if you had a regular convention in Wisconsin with Democrats and you had all the speeches and everything went as usual, you come out of that convention with a bump in the polls, okay? Same thing, and I just want you to think about it because it's not November 3rd. Same thing with Republicans. You come out of that convention with a bump. So the traditional conventions Jacksonville has decided, because now the Republicans have moved their convention from Charlotte. Okay. Now, I do not know, and not to bore you, I do not know if Republicans have to gavel in the convention in Charlotte and officially move it to Jacksonville. I'm not for sure. Okay. But in Jacksonville, all the people that are going to attend, the delegates, are supposed to be wearing a mask. All right. So that's a big thing now. But what the media wants you to lead you to believe, okay, is that the numbers are baked in. It's finished, okay? The timer's over. It's went off in the oven. You pull it out. It's done. There'll be no convention bumps in polling. Trump is beyond, bringing back. He's from the, he's at the abyss. He's gone. He's finished. Convention will not matter. Okay. Now, what happens at conventions? All right. You remember the cons, not just they pulled the con. You remember the cons, the Angel family. You remember the ones that came up and pulled out for Hillary Clinton, their constitution. Remember that? Conventions now roll out many different speeches from many different places. Democrats want to stop the conventions, especially on the Republican side, because if you watch the only convention there will be, okay, how will national TV cover Democrats? If you watch that convention, you're going to have one right after another. Now, will NBC and them make sure they don't air it? Yes, but it will hit the internet. You're going to have angel moms. You're going to have law enforcement. You're going to have Black Americans. You name it, the list is going to be long from the Republican convention that's going to say, hey, we just want to retain, maintain, and move on with the American way, not racism. Anyhow, so this is Biden claims due to Trump's bungling of leadership, okay? Now, they want you to, when I say believe, they want you to believe you need to get back in the house and do not go outside, okay? Do not go outside. Number 54, top 10 states, new coronavirus cases. Okay. Here it is, number 53. Greg Abbott requires masks statewide to fight COVID-19, limits size of gathering. Okay. He wants you to wear a mask when you're indoors and in close quarters. All right. How about this? 4.8 million jobs added in June. Unemployment rate dropped to 11. Okay. 0.1. All right, now give me number 56. Record job gain of 4.8 million in June smashes expectations. Unemployment rate falls to 11.1. Now, you're out of the house. COVID's just going to have to be COVID. I mean, I know some of you out there are saying, well, that was very uneducated. COVID's just going to have to be COVID. Oh my God, what if people die? I understand. I get it. 6 family members. Wait a minute. 6 family members with COVID. Okay. Not myself. I did not get COVID. But we went to 13.1. Now, the media did everything they could to participate in shutting down the economy and crashing our economy. Remember, 3.8% unemployment, right? 3.8%. Record employment in the Black community, men and women. Record employment with women. Record employment with Latinas. Record employment in the LGBTQ community, right? Record employment. But the media participated in the crash with COVID. And that to me was the last thing. Well, I better not say last thing. There's always tomorrow. But that to me was one of they've tried everything. So unemployment was at 13.1. I think it was expected to go to 12.3, right? Analysts had it figured going to 12.3. It's gone to 11.1. Okay. Now, if Trump can get unemployment to 7-8% by November 3rd, I predict he will win if it continues the same way. Now, the reason I say I think he will win if it continues the same way, because you could see the effort being made to turn this around. Okay. Look at number 54. Florida, Georgia, South Carolina lead in daily number of cases. The most daily number of cases recorded came from Florida, red state, Georgia, red state, South Carolina. Okay. Now, let me say this. They will allow, let me do it here. I will not, I don't matter, Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal, progressive. I will not, how do I get this out? I will not ever take an opportunity to highlight someone's illness. Okay. Now, Herman Cain fought cancer. He's an elderly man. He's in the risk number, but he is one that has decided, okay, that everybody's just going to have to go out there. You get it, get over it, whatever, hospitalized. Sorry to say, not being insensitive. Number 43, Herman Cain tweeted this out. Masks will not be mandatory for the event, which will be attended by President Trump. People are fed up. South Dakota governor, we will not be socially distancing at the Mount Rushmore event. So they showed that this morning, and they have enjoyed. Number 44, Herman Cain is hospitalized with COVID-19. They have enjoyed on the media all morning long of him saying, people are fed up, no mask. And here he is pictured. And see, they will say, I heard this I heard this exactly on the one of the shows this morning. I think it was MSNBC. This is Herman Cain and some Black Americans at the Omaha rally. He was there. Omaha rally. Nobody wearing a mask. Now, they have highlighted this picture all morning. He's in the hospital. They say they cannot determine if this is where he contacted the COVID, but they want you to know he was in Omaha in a big group with no mask, and he's in the hospital now. I tell you what, somebody's health that needs to be off limits. Look, we're going to take a break, but I want to ask you a question, all right? The next segment, when we come back, before we get Mo Davis on, we got a lot to talk about. Oh, by the way, here it is, number 37. Let me show you this. Number 37 for Trump, June was the darkest of months. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Is that the opening of her new book? Everybody got a book. Everybody got a book. Now, how about this? Let me give you this and we'll take a break. Number 51. She was in New Hampshire. Maxwell wasn't in Paris. We were not trying to extradite her to the country. She was just hanging out up there in New Hampshire. You know that? Right outside of Boston. New Hampshire's where she was hanging out, right? Epstein didn't kill himself, by the way. And just 2 weeks after Trump fires the look at number 50. She's the acting U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York. Strauss is the acting U.S. attorney. So just 2 weeks after they fire the attorney for the Southern District of New York, they find her in New Hampshire, Maxwell. She wasn't in Paris. Just wonder if any of that goes together. When we come back, it is going to be 4th of July tomorrow. We're going to talk about America, where we've been, where we are, and where we might be going. And happy Independence Day. We'll be back right after these messages. Take a break.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Circuit World has 9-piece living room packages at incredible prices. Get this stylish sofa and love seat, 3 tables, 2 lamps, 43-inch 4K TV, and stand, all for only $1699.99 or $129.99 a month. Or get this 9-piece living room and reclining sofa and reclining love seat, now only $1999.99 or $149.99 a month. These packages are amazing. Stop in today at one of our 5 locations and get the furniture you've always wanted at Circuit World.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Ace is your helpful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
As Georgia opens back up, it's time to come back to Days Chevrolet in Jasper with huge savings on the North Georgia Mountain's biggest selection of pre-owned vehicles. All makes, all models, all with low miles and a super low price. Or buy new and get 0% financing for 72 months on every single Silverado 1500 or Equinox at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. Days Chevrolet. Days gets it done. Find new roads.
All right, folks. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. I want to highlight a couple things. Now, tomorrow is 4th of July, Saturday. A lot of small communities. I want to do this in a way because in a lot of small communities, there will not be parades tomorrow. And I'm just like, no parades. Now, I said several months ago, 4th of July was coming up, and what would they do to disrupt 4th of July? Now, when I say that, some are out there saying, COVID-19, you can't help that. What do you mean disrupt 4th of July? A pandemic does not pick a date. Okay, I get it, all right? But, you know, if you're out there anywhere in America, let me show you small town America, okay? And these are some of the things I just want to run by you. We keep hearing talk. So what I did is I just went, and no matter where you're at, if you're in Topeka, Kansas, okay, Silver Dollar City, if you're out there, let us know. But I just went through just our pictures and a couple of them because yesterday a conversation, and we have to get local here, a conversation, it needs to belong back to the parents of should we go back to traditional school. School districts are putting out parent polling asking virtual school, traditional. Okay, so number one, that's the lunchroom. Will that happen again? And the reason I want to some of these pictures, these kids, you're changing their social fabric. You're changing how they view the world. You're changing what happens as they grow up. Adults are changing everything for that group. And to me, it's for the worst. Okay, so will that happen this fall? Will there be a lunchroom? Okay. I want to do that one last. The next parade. If you are in North Georgia, and don't get angry at me. If you're in North Georgia, I don't know where you're at. Give me number 5, okay? This is one of the annual nighttime parades they have in North Georgia. I'm not going to call cities out to get in trouble. This is the son of the Confederates. Go look them up. The son of the Confederate soldiers. You do realize throughout the South and throughout the United States of America, there's actually people that their heritage, you know, do they exempt that on Ancestry.com? Like if you swab your DNA, right, and give it to one of these companies and you pay them, when it comes back, are there blank areas and you call the company? What happened in these years? Well, we'll tell you because we got you on the phone. Your grandpa was a Confederate. He fought in the Confederate. He fought for the South in the Civil War. Oh, hell, are you serious? Yeah, we thought we should leave that out. A lot of these people got blood. Our children, our kids, ancestors, the kids and the soldiers, there's blood, a lot of blood on this soil, right here on our soil in that war. Are you not going to teach that? All right, so there's sons of the Confederate. When's the next time? Number 6. This is at a Veterans Day parade. Veterans Day. Yeah, Veterans Day. When's the next time you're going to see the marching band? I just want to highlight these kids. You're changing their total social fabric and how they see the world. If you think the kids, in the white kids in Black Lives Matter today group, look, this group right here. Are these kids, when will the next time you see the high school marching band in a parade? You know, marching, I was not in the band. And that's not negative. I wasn't in the band, but I do know this. These kids work very, very hard. Very hard. Okay. And they usually pick a parade that they like to ask to be in. I don't know how it works. Macy's, the Hula Bowl, the Rose Bowl, Philadelphia, Thanksgiving Day. These kids work very, very hard to be in those parades. What will happen? Parades with no kids watching them? Will we have Thanksgiving Day parades? Because what's next? Will we have those with no kids watching the parades? A virtual parade? Or they can march down Main Street, but we have to close it to people? I don't know. I'm just asking the question. Here you go, number 7. This happened to be on Independence Day, right? Small town America. Pay attention. This was on Veterans Day. This is a Veterans Day parade right here. Veterans Day parade. What's going to happen to the good old trick or treat? Are the family of 4, number 8, look at the group of people. Look at number 8. Look at there. The Ninja Turtles are out. The princesses are out. You know, are we going to have the downtown? What's going to happen with these kids? Are we going to have downtown trick or treat? Now, number 9, I'm just looking at these kids' childhood. So I'm going to just use it. They do it in LJ. They do it in small town America for safety. They're all doing it. And Blue Ridge, the Blue Ridge Business Association, they sponsor Trick or Treat Night. Close the road, and I'm telling you, every business goes out there and gives out candy, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Just wondering, if you don't have a parade tomorrow, what is next? Okay. Will this happen again? Number 10. Just want you to think, will this happen again? Will these classrooms be like this? Will they be able to have classes like this? These are pictures. Like I said, these are only pictures that we took locally and that have been on you can go to FetcherNews.com and you can find them on the albums where we highlight the kids. I mean, our news department and our community department. Number 11. Will there be any more clowning around? What about the Apple Festival that brings in sometimes 30,000 people? This is the Apple Festival parade. Will we have, number 12 this year, the Apple Queen? Now apply this, what I'm saying, apply this to your local downtown, your local area, and the festivals you have throughout the year, and what brings revenue and visitors to your community. Every year after the Apple Festival, you could talk to the realtors that say, that brings people that say, hey, I would like to move there. All the above. Will we have an Apple Queen this year? What about you? Here is a group that has visited. I talked to these people. I remember this, going and saying hello, number 13. Will we have the apple fritters? Will we have the apple pies? These are some people enjoying the Apple Festival. Look at those kids. Will it happen? What's next? I'm just saying, okay? I'm just doing this segment. What about this? Well, wait a minute. You're going too far. No, I'm not. We have watched one thing after another stop. We've watched the kids, no graduations, right? Well, they were virtual and people liked them. Wait a minute. We watched no spring sports with these high school kids. We're hurting our children. Number 14. Well, the green and white kind of gives it away. This is Pickens, giving a little bit of love to them. I've done some Gilmer. I've done some Fannin. Little love, Blue Ridge. There's Pickens there. That would be the homecoming court there. Homecoming queen. Will that be virtual this year? I'm just saying. Here's number 15. You remember when you used to get the lawn chair out at 4th of July? This is in Union County, Georgia. Okay. Remember we used to get the lawn chair out at 4th of July to listen to the band? Here is number 16, Union County, Georgia. You remember when you used to get your flags out? And why this would be number 17. We'll give you a little parade action. This is number 17. And this is Ella J Rocks. Ella J Rocks. This is the 4th of July parade. Okay. Number 18. Here it comes. Now look at the streets lined with people. Wonder what kind of effect that has. Look at those American flags. Wonder what kind of effect that has on July 4th. The local businesses, the local communities that bring their kids every year to sit along those sidewalks to see the parade. Here comes the big orange yellow fire truck. How about this, number 19, throw a little parade in there from Ella J. Okay. Now this is number 20. In the parade, son of the Confederate soldiers. There they are. That is a son of the Confederate soldiers. Okay. Number 21. Remember what we missed this past spring? Number 21. There's some Gilmer Bobcats right there. We missed baseball. These kids right here. We missed that. Will they play? Number 22. Will they play high school football this year? Will they? How will it happen? How will it go down? Number 23. Will Fannin County be able to retain? Those are some older uniforms. The new uniforms I do not think they say Rebels. But will Fannin County, number 3, those kids be able to retain? Look at the center of that field with an F and the 2 F and swords. See that? Will they be able to do that? Will we have high school football this year? Number 24, can you get in the gate this year? If you have the Confederate flag, will you be able to get in the high school football game this year if you have the flag? Huh. Will GHSA issue a statement? Just checking. I'm just going here. Now, this is the ones that start really bothering me because every year, Lonnie Adams goes, not that I do not, but they usually have the parades on the same day. Lonnie Adams goes down to Ella J, and he takes pictures, like 1,000 pictures of the parade. I go to Blue Ridge. I've gone for years. I go to Sycamore Crossing. I get set up there, and then I get my camera out because I just love the parade. And there's families that I have met. Now, these pictures, I want you to know, are from 2017, not 2019, 2017. And there's a reason. I was looking for the other one so I could show you, and I will find them for Monday. But here is number 25. I walk up and down the street, and I find this all over because this always warms my heart. Whether you think I'm just being sensitive this morning, this always warms my heart when I see these kids sitting on the sidewalk waiting for the parade in their red, white, and blue, and they're visiting Blue Ridge. I really do. I love this. What are these kids going to think? I don't know. Well, it's a pandemic. Here's the one I love, okay? Now, this family here, I think I met this family in 2016. Remember, this is 2017. I think I met this family in 2016 because what I do is I walk up and down the street. Where are you from? Glad you're visiting. If it's kids, I say, hey, can I say hello to your kids? Take their picture. Sure. Okay. This family comes to Blue Ridge every year. And somewhere, it's hard to find all of them, somewhere I can find 2016, 17, 18, and 19. And I was really looking forward to seeing these two little guys this year. Yes. Give me number 26. Now, these two little guys started coming to Blue Ridge. These two brothers started coming to Blue Ridge, I think in 2016 when they were born, okay? And every year, I didn't get a good. I do have a picture. If I go through, I can find a picture of Dad. You can see his watch and Mom to the right. But the dad is very nice. I've talked to him. I started talking to him in 2016. Now he expects me to come up and always say hello when they're visiting. But this family of 4, which happens to be African Americans, and these 2 young men are waving the flag. Now, I started looking at this morning. Now, these guys are probably, this is 17, 18, 19. These guys are probably 5 or 6 now. What are they thinking? What are these 2 little guys saying? I missed this. Tomorrow, I will not get my annual pictures of these guys. Say hello to the family that always visits, rents cabins, so forth. I just say it. Number 27, 4th of July parade, Blue Ridge. This is 2017, number 28. Okay, 28. Sons of the Confederate soldiers right there. As you can see, they have their Confederate flag and the American flag. They have both, okay? And they are the sons of the Confederate soldiers, and they're in the parade. Here's another one, number 29. I will miss this tomorrow. And the reason we're doing this, and I brought this up, and we're going to do a little parade at the end of the show. I'll show you a little bit. But here is a Alfa Romero, Georgia Alfa Romero. Here are the kids, the moms and dads, red, white, and blue. Now, I'm not going to say this is an orchestrated takedown. Some may feel that. But don't you go to these little small town America parades, look at the flag there, flag in that kid's hand, flag on that car, red, white, and blue. Dad's wearing the flags this young lady's wearing with the white and red. I mean, I don't know if I'm boring you, but don't you love to go see the red, white, and blue at these little parades? Just saying. Here is number 30. Because this is where I set up Sycamore Crossing. I take my bag there, get my camera. They come early. See how early? They get there early. They get their chairs out on the sidewalk. The kids are ready. There's a lot of red. There's a lot of white. There's a lot of blue in that crowd, right? Now, you always know the parade is over. How do you know when the parade is over? Is that America? How do you know, America, the parade is over? Here you go, number 31. When the horses come down the road, parade's over, Jack. Because, you got to have the pooper scooper and everything behind the horses. No, the horses, when you see the horses, you know this parade is over in a parade, okay? So let me ask you a question. What is next? What is next? Who's next? Number 2. They got the old Easter bunny. Elmer Fudd finally shot the Easter bunny, right? That's why they took his gun away. Is that it? No, Easter. They pushed down Easter. Is Santa Claus next? Will you have to just sit home? Number 4. Remember, America loves the lighting of your local town Christmas tree. You love it. There's something about it. It happens every year. It's not that mesmerizing. It just has, it's not that big a deal. Lights come on, but it's mesmerizing. And we all get together and somebody on a loudspeaker says 10, 9, and boom, this light in the center of your town square, this tree in the center of your town square lights up, illuminates. And you love it. And crowds of kids. And then what happens afterwards? Do you know? I do. Moms and dads and kids stand in front of that tree and ask passersby, can you take a picture of us? Can you take a picture of us? thousands come out for the lighting and the Christmas festivities. Okay. Light Up Blue Ridge is an all-day event, which I love the tubas. I love the tubas. Just saying. All-day event. Santa comes in on the train. Then they take pictures of Santa Claus. What's next, America? What's next? Tomorrow is Independence Day, 4th of July. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. We're going to take a brief break, and when we come back, and let me get this out here real quick. I told you about this earlier, okay? Give me number 57. Schiff learned of Russian, this is from the Federalist, Schiff learned of Russian bounty intelligence in February, withheld information from Congress, and took no action. Adam Schiff demands the Trump administration brief all of Congress about the unverified allegations, yet he himself did not ask for a briefing following the February briefing of his own staff. Interesting. I'm your host, BKP. We're going to take a break. When we return, we're going to have, put up number 36, we're going to have Democrat candidate for the North Carolina 11th District will be with us, Mo Davis. So take a break and we'll be right back.
Circuit World has complete queen bedroom packages at amazing prices. Get this queen bed, dresser and mirror, one nightstand, bedding set, and free 32-inch TV, all for only $1799.99 or $129.99 a month. Or get this complete queen bedroom set and sleep in style, also for only $1799.99 or $129.99 a month. What an incredible deal! Stop in today at one of our 5 locations and get the furniture you've always wanted at Circuit World.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
I'm Jeff Riblett, President of Asset Protection Group. As a certified financial planner and with 20 years experience, I've helped thousands of families and business owners create a tremendous amount of wealth. Fortunately, most of that wealth has been protected. Don't allow an unforeseen life event, such as a nursing home stay or the next market meltdown, destroy your family's wealth. Be smart. Call me. Let's determine how best to protect your assets and preserve your wealth.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Circuit World has 9-piece living room packages at incredible prices. Get this stylish sofa and love seat, 3 tables, 2 lamps, 43-inch 4K TV, and stand, all for only $1699.99 or $129.99 a month. Or get this 9-piece living room and reclining sofa and reclining love seat, now only $1999.99 or $149.99 a month. These packages are amazing. Stop in today at one of our 5 locations and get the furniture you've always wanted at Circuit World.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Ace is your helpful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
As Georgia opens back up, it's time to come back to Days Chevrolet in Jasper with huge savings on the North Georgia Mountain's biggest selection of pre-owned vehicles. All makes, all models, all with low miles and a super low price. Or buy new and get 0% financing for 72 months on every single Silverado 1500 or Equinox at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. Days Chevrolet. Days gets it done. Find new roads.
All right. Thanks, Brian.
Hey, folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP. Now, we have been, let me give you an update before we bring our next guest in. we are following, as you well know, FetcherNews.com has 12 websites in Western North Carolina in the 11th District. And we are following this congressional race, just a little heads up. The 11th District was represented by Mark Meadows. Mark Meadows is now the Chief of Staff for President Donald J. Trump, which called for a special election. Our next guest won the Democrat nomination with no runoff. And as you well know, on June 23rd, Mo Davis found out who his opponent would be. And that would be Madison Clawthorne, who won the runoff election. So now the Republican and Democrat are set. We had Mr. Clawthorne on yesterday. So today we welcome the Democrat candidate for North Carolina 11th District, Mo Davis. Mr. Davis, how are you today?
Not too bad. Hey, thanks for having me. I really do appreciate it.
Well, you know, let me start right in because you did win with 4 other candidates, I think, without a runoff. I think you got about 40% of the vote. So you have been able to work on your general election strategy here for a couple months while the Republicans were determining who your opponent would be. But in the 2020, I want to start there, in the 2020 North Carolina congressional district redistricting, all of Asheville is now in the 11th district. Now, the last time, I think 2018, Mark Meadows carried this district 59.2% or something like that. I've read a lot of articles, and Democrats feel they have an opportunity to turn some of these districts in North Carolina, one being the 11th district. Can you highlight or talk about that real fast?
Sure. Yeah. After the last census in 2010, this district was gerrymandered. Asheville, for folks that haven't been here, and I know most of your listeners are from around this area, but folks that haven't been here, I've described Asheville as kind of the Berkeley of the Blue Ridge. If you picked up Berkeley and flew it across the country and dropped it in the mountains, you kind of got Asheville. It's a very progressive, very blue area. But, surrounding that is a more conservative area. So in 2010, the Republican legislature split Asheville down the middle. So if you're attending UNC Asheville, depending on which dormitory you lived in, you could either be in the 10th district, which is Patrick McHenry, his district, or the 11th, which is the Mark Meadows district. So as you said, when Mark Meadows ran, 4 times, he won with somewhere between a 20 and a 30-point margin of victory. So it was essentially a mathematical impossibility for a Democrat to compete. And let me just say one thing on gerrymandering. The Democrats don't have clean hands on that issue either. So it's something that both parties have done. And, that's not the way democracy is supposed to work. But in November, our state court here told our legislature, look, either you're going to redraw the maps or we're going to do it for you. And when the legislature met, it became apparent that Buncombe County and Asheville were going to get reunited because you couldn't explain splitting it down the middle, by any explanation other than trying to rig the outcome. And it's, there's still some places that kind of write it off for the, as a slam dunk for the Republicans. Like Cook Report, I think, says it's solid Republican, 14 to 16 point margin. But what they've done is they've taken the new boundaries and overlaid that on the 2016 Clinton-Trump race.
Right.
The argument I've been making is a more accurate barometer. I mean, I think a more accurate measure or analogy between Madison Cawthorn and I would be the Roy Cooper governor's race. It was on that same ballot. I think we're closer to that than Clinton and Trump. And if you overlay the Cooper McCrory results on the new boundaries, McCrory won by about 6.5 points. And I think that's probably about the state of the district. It's probably about a 6 or 7 point Republican leaning district.
All right. Well, let me say this. So I hear what you're saying is the Cook Report has your district, the 11th district in North Carolina, has it in the solid red, and that's a layover above the Clinton-Trump election. The Cooper McCrory race, the governor's race, you're saying that's a more accurate depiction of the 11th district and the Democrats' opportunity to flip that seat.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, McCrory, was the incumbent Republican governor. Cooper was the Democratic challenger. They were both, North Carolinians. I think more similar in, reflecting North Carolina values and trying to compare Trump and Clinton to Madison Cawthorn and I. Because Madison and I, of course, been in touch, and I think he and I both love Western North Carolina. You and I were talking before we went on the air about, just what a special place this is. I kind of took it for granted growing up around here. That everywhere in the world was like this. I thought everybody knew that barbecue is made out of pork, and
I get that. Yeah, I thoroughly understand that. You mean you did not know that? You didn't know that growing up, and
No, I thought yep. Yeah, I thought the whole world was just like this place. And then I joined the military, and I got to see other parts of the world. I remember I was stationed in Abilene, Texas, and people said, "Oh, you're going to love the barbecue." And they brought it out and I said, "Hey, wait a minute, this isn't pork." Here in this region, barbecue is a noun, not a verb. When somebody says it's not what it's the product. It's not what you did to it.
Hey, no disrespect. Don't take this wrong, but I'm going to invite you back when we have our barbecue segment, because I'm with you 100%. Okay. Hey.
I've had a running battle on Twitter with the guy. His Twitter handle is the BBQ Snob. He's the editor at Texas Monthly, and I keep telling him Texas is barbecue confused, because there can be sausage, chicken, brisket, pork, whatever.
Now wait a minute. Don't take this wrong. Now there's your Lexington barbecue. There's your Greensboro Stamey's barbecue. There's your Lexington barbecue, and then there's your Kansas City Tips, and then there's your Texas and your Memphis. We're going to end it there, okay? Okay. But
but you can't beat the barbecue around here. Out Red Bridges Barbecue in Shelby on Highway 74. In fact, I've got one of their T-shirts on now, so I'm partial to the barbecue in this area.
All right, let me ask you on the 11th district, okay? The 11th district, Trump carried. It's been red for a long time. Trump carried strongly in the 2016. So let's flip to Democrat presidential candidates. As I've been studying the state of North Carolina, you can look up election results, and we're using the word hotspot, or words hotspot in a whole different way now. But the hotspot for Bernie Sanders was Asheville. I think 23,000 votes. Bernie Sanders really carried Asheville, which is now in your district. So can I be so bold to ask you, did you support the presumptive nominee Joe Biden in the primary, or living in Asheville yourself, did you support Bernie Sanders?
Yeah, you can go back and look. During the primary, that was a question that, when we had candidate forums, that was a routine question we got, is who do you support? And, I'm on record. You can run the tape. When we had the Buncombe County Forum, where I said I supported Joe Biden. I worked I was working up in Washington. I retired from the military in 2008 when I was up in the D.C. area. I was a chief prosecutor at Guantanamo. Retired in 2008, and I worked for the government. I worked for Congress for a year, and then for the last 4.5 years, I was a judge at the U.S. Department of Labor. But I was there working during the Obama-Biden administration, and Joe Biden's got the experience and the temperament, and I thought he was the best candidate. Nothing against Bernie Sanders. I know there's a lot of passion for him around this area, but I think we need a calm, steady hand, and I think that's Joe Biden.
All right, from your website, you have your Colonel Mo Davis from your website. In 2007, you have a 25-year career in the service. Am I correct, sir?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. In 2007, while serving as chief prosecutor for terrorism trials at Guantanamo Bay, Davis dared to take on the Bush administration. He refused an order to use evidence obtained through torture because he believed it was immoral and illegal. that decision came at a price to uphold his principles. Davis had no choice but to resign his position at Guantanamo. Can you tell us what case that was, or are you not able to, and can tell us a little bit of what happened there when you decided to defy that order from the administration?
Sure. Yeah, it wasn't any one particular case. It was all the cases in general. When I came on board, I was the third chief prosecutor. I came on board in September of 2005. And my policy was we wouldn't use, I couldn't use the word torture. They were called enhanced interrogation techniques. But we were developing cases independent of any evidence that was obtained through those methods. And that's one thing that's really frustrating for me. I was there when President Bush made the decision to send the high-value detainees from the CIA down to Guantanamo. And Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, who I don't know that a lot of people know this. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed is lived in North Carolina for 4 years. He's a graduate of North Carolina A&T University and attended Shawan College down on the coast for a while. But when KSM and the guys got there, there's ample evidence to prove his guilt without using anything he ever said in our custody. So why do it? But later on, people above me retired career military folks that were replaced by political appointees that never served in the military. And by the summer of 2007, I was being told, look, President Bush said we don't torture. Who are you to say that we do? So, dust off that evidence and get in there and get these guys convicted. And that was when I resigned in 2007. So now here we are 13 years later in 2020, and Khalid Sheikh Mohammed still hadn't been tried. One of the things I got to do, I got to work with John McCain and Lindsey Graham back in 2006 and on drafting the legislation to authorize the military commissions. And I remember when Senator McCain came in the room, Lindsey Graham said, tell John what you told me about torture. And I said, I'm not going to use any evidence obtained by torture. And McCain put his hand on my shoulder and said, I'm so glad to hear you say that. Now, what do you need to get the job done right? So, it's frustrating. I feel bad for the 9/11 victim family members that have been waiting for 13 years. Actually, longer than that. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed got there in September of 2006, so 14 years. That they've been waiting for justice, and they still don't have it. And that's a real travesty.
All right, one more thing on that note from your website. I've read so much, and it's very interesting, your career. I just want you to touch on one more thing, and then I want to get into some current issues of the day. It said on your website that was not the last time, and you can read this for yourself on his website. He has all this information on here, and you have all your issues, all the issues of the day. His position, Mo Davis' position, is on there. That was not the last time Davis stood up for what he believed was right. In 2009, after retiring from the Air Force, Davis was working as an assistant director and senior specialist in the national security for the Congressional Research Service at the Library of Congress. But when he wrote an opinion piece for the Wall Street Journal that was critical of the Obama administration handling the prosecutions at Guantanamo Bay, Davis was fired. So second time at Guantanamo Bay, you were not satisfied with the prosecutions in two different administrations. And this one here, you were directly fired. Can you highlight what you wrote that day in the Wall Street Journal that got you, as you say, fired?
Yeah, if you go to the website, my bio's on there, and you can see I've written a number of op-ed pieces for a variety of different national publications. But it's the only time. I don't know if you've ever written op-eds. I've often found that you got to shop them around, try to find somebody to publish them. Sometimes they don't, and it's the only time in my life I wrote two opinion pieces that got published in two major newspapers on the same day. And it was Veterans Day, 2009. And I had a piece in the Washington Post. Michael Mukasey, the former attorney general during the Bush administration, at one point there was a plan, the Obama administration were going to bring the detainees to federal district court here in the U.S. And they did that. The only detainee that got to Guantanamo when I was there back in September of 2006 was Ahmed Gilani, who was involved in the East Africa embassy bombings. And he was brought to New York City, convicted in federal court there, got a life sentence, and his case has been all the way through the Supreme Court, and it's over and done. None of the other guys have been tried yet. But Mukasey said bringing detainees to the U.S., and I'm paraphrasing here, but basically said, the world's going to come to an end if we bring terrorists onto American soil. So I wrote a rebuttal to that saying that was fear-mongering worthy of Dick Cheney. The same day I had a piece in the Wall Street Journal. The Obama administration had begun to backpedal on trying these cases in federal court, and they were going to bring the good cases to federal court and leave the bad cases in the military court at Guantanamo. And the argument I made was you can't have a double standard. You can't say we'll take the good cases to the good court and the bad cases to the bad court. You could legitimately pick one or the other, but you couldn't do both. And that was when those both were published on Veterans Day, which was a holiday. The next day I come into work, and the director said, you shouldn't have done this. Although at that point in time, it was pretty clear what my position on Guantanamo Bay was. The day they called me to talk to me about the job at Congressional Research Service, I was testifying before the House Armed Services Committee on Guantanamo. So my position was pretty well known. But anyway, I got fired and spent the next 6.5 years in federal court fighting the Obama administration over free speech rights for government employees. And eventually we settled the case, and they cleared my record, and they wrote me a nice check. And so I think what it shows, I've got a record of having fought Republican administrations and Democratic administrations when it's the right thing to do. And I think that's what people want in a representative, somebody that's not going to be beholden to the party, that's going to fight to do what's right. And I've got a record of having done that.
When you say beholden to the party, let's move in our last segment here, the time we have left. When you say beholden to the party, give me a couple things, if you can, that the Democrat, when you say beholden to the party, that the Democrat Party at this time, and let's say this, let's move this to the 11th district, because as you said,
sure,
Asheville is like moving Berkeley across the country and setting it down there in Asheville, North Carolina. But outside of that, the 11th congressional district's pretty conservative,
yeah,
pretty red. Let's just say have a different set of values. Won't go into whose values are right or wrong. So what say you about what is something nationally in the Democrat Party today that you can look at and say you would oppose?
Well, I think one area where I'm different than I think what would most people consider to be the mainstream Democratic value is on the Second Amendment and guns. The mainstream Democratic, for most candidates, I think most are want to ban assault rifles. I don't. I'm a multi-gun owner. I grew up down in Cleveland County. I can't recall my exact age, but I remember I was probably 7 or 8 when my dad got me a .410 shotgun. And then I spent 25 years in the military. I worked as a bail bondsman before I went to law school. So I know some on the other side try to portray the Democrats as, we're going to come kick your door down and take your gun away. I'm a multi-gun owner. And so my position on guns, and it's on the website in more detail if you want to look at it, but on assault rifles in particular, what my proposal is, North Carolina has a concealed carry permit that a lot of citizens have used, where you have to file an application, you pay a fee, you have to do a background check, you have to attend a day-long gun safety course, and you have to agree that if you're arrested for an act of violence or hospitalized for a mental issue, it gets reported. And so my proposal on assault weapons is that we apply that on a national basis. And if you want to own an assault weapon, then you go through that process and you can own it. But I also think there should be strict liability. I'm a gun owner. If I'm irresponsible, I'll leave my gun sitting on the seat of the car and leave the door unlocked. If it's stolen and used in an act of violence, I should be strictly liable for that. So I think I differ there, from mainstream, Democratic positions on guns. And I think it's I think guns and sense are not mutually exclusive terms. So I'm for Second Amendment rights, but I also believe in common sense.
What do you think about when you hear, and this is a national subject, but then again, Western North Carolina, where, Asheville's a pretty good sized city, and it is a liberal city. For for the most part. What do you think when you hear defund the police and you see and hear different city councils discussing changing to public peace officers and things of that nature? Now that, although there's not been a national Democratic statement that says that, it is shared by many in the Democrat Party. What say you when you hear defund law enforcement?
Yeah, it's, I've talked about this a number of times. Whoever came up with that phrase ought to be fired, or, on the other side, the conservative side is really good at coming up with slogans and bumper stickers, where on the liberal progressive side, we tend to write 20-page position papers that nobody ever reads. And so whoever came up with the slogan "defund the police" is, I totally disagree.
All right, do you disagree with the? Well, let me say this though. In all due respect, when you say slogan, I get it. Liberals write 16-page. I get it, and Republicans, you say, do a great job putting a bumper sticker together. But a lot of times I see Republicans getting that bumper sticker from something that's actually taking place. I mean, it is something that happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's actually defunding the police. So it's not quite a slogan, and it's starting to take root in a lot of cities. Asheville's a pretty good sized city. Now, as a representative or future representative for that district, give me a little direct answer. What say you if you go to Congress and there's a bill sitting there and you're a Democrat and it comes to the floor and it says defund the police? What say you?
Right. Yeah, let me.
Or law enforcement.
My undergraduate degree from Appalachian State University is in criminal justice. As I said, I worked as a bail bondsman while I was in college. After I left college, I worked for Rufus Edmonston, who was the Attorney General here in North Carolina. I worked in law enforcement training. I graduated from the North Carolina Justice Academy as a law enforcement instructor. So, I am not anti-law enforcement. What I think the better phrase would be reimagining law enforcement. Because I think it's kind of like with teachers. We've dumped a lot of stuff on teachers that aren't traditional teaching roles, like being a social worker and a nutritional supplement expert and a lot of other things. We've done that with the police. So I think it's an opportunity to look at law enforcement and what roles and missions should they have. For instance, I think, they get dumped on with like mental health issues and drug addiction issues that perhaps don't belong in the law enforcement community. So I'd like to see us use this as an opportunity to reassess and look at what do we want law enforcement to be doing, and can some of the roles they're doing now be assigned more appropriately to other agencies. And I think that's the more sensible approach, rather than saying let's defund the police.
All right, let me ask you this, because our news network, we covered a Black Lives Matter. Yes, we did, over in Cherokee County, North Carolina, in Murphy. We covered that. We probably, our Facebook Live video had, 30, 40,000 views on that. We had one in Georgia that had over 100,000 views. My point is, like the Republican Party, like the Republican Party has a lot of different conservative groups, and then it comes together as the Republican Party. The Democratic Party, what say you on what you're seeing where Black Lives Matter, or do you consider them a modern day civil rights group?
Yeah, I think on the whole, you certainly have the outliers that, I certainly don't condone, violence and vandalism. Particularly, it really bothered me here in Asheville. Our merchants are struggling, due to COVID-19 and having been shut down, and then to have vandalism on top of that is just inexcusable. But I think let me add as well. I know we're on the radio, people can't see me. I'm a white guy. I graduated from North Carolina Central University Law School, which is a historically black college, and I was on the faculty at Howard University as a law professor for 4 years, which is also a historically black college. So I mean, I think, again, growing up in this environment, I think it's an issue that I didn't really appreciate. And I think the most important lesson I learned serving in the military is what matters is who can you count on. And that crosses all descriptions: black, white, male, male, female, gay, straight, Christian, atheist, whatever. It's who can you count on is what matters. So with the Black Lives Matter movement, I support, the underlying sentiment. It's, people getting killed for, minor alleged transgressions is just wrong. And, if you talk to us, there's a gentleman here, an older gentleman who is a faculty member at one of the local colleges, who said, he's been pulled over like 5 or 6 times for just driving home. I haven't been pulled over in 40 years. So I think, it seems like this point in time is different. We've had incidents in the past that got attention, then it faded away, but it seems like this time is different. And as you said, to me, it's encouraging that we've seen people speak up in places like Bryson City and Franklin and Mars Hill, and places where I wouldn't have expected to see it. So I'm hoping we can make something positive out of this and make it the founder said that the objective is a more perfect union, not the perfect union. So we're a perpetual work in progress. So hopefully this will result in something good.
All right. 2 more quick things. I know we got to wrap it up. I want to go back. I want to keep this in the 11th District of North Carolina. I've read your positions on education, but let me ask you where we're at now. Do you think we need to go to back to traditional classrooms here in North Carolina late August here, that we need to reopen the schools and go back to traditional classrooms? Is it time for the 11th District to do that?
That's sitting here in early July. I was looking this morning. If you Google, coronavirus, you can see like here in Buncombe County or in North Carolina, showing the chart. If that was your 401k, you'd be happy to see that chart. But it's the number of infections. We definitely need to reopen the schools as soon as it's prudent to do it. There's no. I was an educator both in the Air Force. So I was a commandant and faculty member at the Air Force JAG School, and we did distance learning, and it's not a substitute for classroom learning. But we've got to do it safely. I know this is painful, this period we're going through. I mean, it's difficult. I can tell you, trying to run a campaign in the middle of a pandemic is a challenge, and that pales in comparison to what a lot of other people are going through trying to run a business or keep a roof over their heads.
Well, go ahead.
No, I want to see schools reopen as soon as it's prudent to do it. But I think, sitting here in early July and trying to make a call for late August, I think we need to see what the numbers look like and whether we're trending in the right direction. And at least as of right now, the numbers keep trending up, not down. And you've seen governors like DeSantis in Florida and Abbott in Texas that are now taking more aggressive steps that they probably should have taken sooner. But
yeah, but I mean, when you say that, you start getting into the different data, DeSantis and Abbott and the wearing of a mask in indoors, right, in closed areas where you could transmit. I mean, I think some people, maybe all people will agree that's okay. But when we talk about schools, the data we have in those age groups, I don't know in the 11th District of North Carolina, but if you look, there's probably 0 deaths in children that age. And also the transmission rate, the kids don't transmit it. And we do know we have to treat our seniors like fine china. So the actual age group that goes to school, that then would allow the economic engine of parents going back to work and so forth, it seems like we've got to balance out. I want to ask you one more thing before we go, because we haven't had an opportunity, and I hope this is one of many times you come back, because I enjoy a good discussion. But your opponent in the 11th District, Madison Clawthorne, give me a direct speak to the voters. Why choose you, and what can you say to the people of Western North Carolina to convince them to vote for you, and that you may have some of their values, their Western North Carolina values, that they can count on you to be open-minded when you go to Congress, when you cast a vote?
Yeah, I think by any objective measure, the issues that I was talking about, back at the end of last year, before we ever heard of COVID-19, were issues like broadband access. We have counties in this district where broadband access is less than 50%. So, kids there can't do online education because they don't have the internet. You can't do telemedicine. Veterans, I'm a disabled veteran. I used a VA hospital. There's an article that said since the 1st of March, the VA has increased online telemedicine by 1,000%. If you're a veteran in one of our rural counties, like the counties I know your show covers, a lot of the western counties, folks there, if you don't have the internet, the veteran can't use that benefit. So I'm trying to focus on issues that affect folks on a day-to-day basis: education, broadband, employment. I'm a big believer in green technology. North Carolina is number 2 in solar energy production. My wife and I just built a house and just moved in a week ago. We've got solar. Those panels were made in America, but they weren't made here. So I want to try to attract good paying jobs that can lift us out of we had 14 to 17 counties that are above the national average in poverty, and that was before COVID-19. And then healthcare, all 17 counties, the uninsured rate was above the national average before COVID-19 hit. So I'm trying to talk to folks about the day-to-day issues that impact them and their kids' future, and offer what I believe are sensible positions on those. And as I've said, if I get elected, I get sworn in on January 3rd, 2021, and I'll face the voters again in November of 2022. That's 22 months. You gave Mark Meadows 4 terms and we've fallen behind. Give me 22 months, and if I don't keep my word, then it's incumbent upon you to fire me. But give me a chance, and if I let you down, hunt me down. But we've got to do better for Western North Carolina.
Okay, your opponent now, Madison Cawthorn. Are you open to debates with your opponent now? Is that something that will happen in the future, that the voters will be able to see you both side by side in a debate?
Yeah, it definitely will. And I give kudos to him. We were in communication back during their primary. I know it was frustrating for him that Linda Bennett wouldn't debate him. And we were in communication back then. We've been in communication since their runoff. And I think it's 100% that we are going to have debates. It's still, with COVID-19, and we're still in a phase 2 here in North Carolina on the reentry thing, and it's been continued. It's the logistics that are kind of a long pole in the tent right now. But I think we can both assure voters that it's 123 days till Election Day, and I think you'll see us a number of times. And that's what people need. Kick the tires and take a look at making informed decisions. That's what we're going to try to give voters. Is like I said, I think he and I both love Western North Carolina. We just have different views on the path forward, and we want to let voters, kick the tires and see which one they want to ride with the next 2 years.
Well, here at fyntv.com, we'd like to invite you and Mr. Cawthorn down to Cherokee County, North Carolina, the big city of Murphy, and we'd like to invite you down maybe one night for a debate here. So
Sure.
we'd like to, huh?
You can count me in.
Okay, so we would like to do that. We thank you. We know we're a little over time of what your campaign said you had allotted for our interview. We appreciate you very much for coming on. We'll tell you what we tell every candidate. We wish you well in the campaign. Thank you for your willingness to serve. And again, we'll get back with you and continue this conversation on so many different topics we haven't got a chance to discuss this morning.
Well, thank you, Brian. And listen, to all the listeners out there, have a good 4th of July, and stay safe, and we're going to have better days ahead of us.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Okay, we've been on the phone with Mo Davis. Mo Davis is the Democratic candidate for the 11th District of North Carolina, and he's going up against the Republican Madison Cawthorn. We will discuss a little of our interview and wrap up some things when we get back. Let's take a brief break.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Circuit World has 9-piece living room packages at incredible prices. Get this stylish sofa and love seat, 3 tables, 2 lamps, 43-inch 4K TV, and stand, all for only $1699.99 or $129.99 a month. Or get this 9-piece living room and reclining sofa and reclining love seat, now only $1999.99 or $149.99 a month. These packages are amazing. Stop in today at one of our 5 locations and get the furniture you've always wanted at Circuit World.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Ace is your helpful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge, we have your new house in stock.
As Georgia opens back up, it's time to come back to Days Chevrolet in Jasper with huge savings on the North Georgia Mountain's biggest selection of pre-owned vehicles. All makes, all models, all with low miles and a super low price. Or buy new and get 0% financing for 72 months on every single Silverado 1500 or Equinox at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. Days Chevrolet. Days gets it done. Find new roads.
Hey, we're back. I'm your host, BKP. We're back. I'm your host, BKP. Now, a couple things before we close off here and head for the holidays or holiday, or let me just say this. I'm looking for something. I know I could find it somewhere if I try. I want to find this picture. It's in the Wayback Machine, okay? And I'm going to find it here. Just give me a minute. All right, so today I'm going to try to multitask. Today I'm going to go over to Gainesville. Just so you know, I know everybody wants to know my business, and I have an opportunity to go over there and have lunch with a friend. I'm going to really enjoy being over in Gainesville today. Doing that right after the show. Yesterday, the rain in North Georgia finally provided me an opportunity. Damn it, I can't find it. Oh, I didn't use a bad word all morning long. I'll find it for Monday. And there I said that then. Okay, so no rain finally provided me an opportunity. If you must know out there, everything I'm doing from minute to minute to finish a paint project at the house. So I got that one off the books. So that's good. And yes, I've said this over and over. I was just thinking about it. This weekend, I'm going to make some changes to Studio B. The picture came down. I'm going to see if I can get this in non-glare glass. Non-glare glass. Put the picture back up. I'm going to get that fixed. Okay. So there you go. If you must know everything. Now you know everything. Find all the other social media ways you can follow us there. Put the other one up. I have my flag here, American flag. And there you go. So what are you doing this weekend, right? Let me go over a couple quick things. Now, I've only got 15 minutes, and then we head off for the 4th of July. So let me go through some pictures here that I cropped this morning. Do you believe, number 55, do you believe Joe Biden's cognitive functions, that he's got it all upstairs? Now, I have to tell you, after just having a Democratic candidate on the show, if I were Democrats, I would demand this guy come out and just go for it. Now, here is something I want you to see in this picture before we get to the COVID-19, okay? Hold on a minute. I'm going to get there. I want to show you something in this Joe Biden picture that I thought I had, and I don't. He did his press conference the other day with a teleprompter. Absolutely. With a teleprompter. Now, bounty. I've always said this. The Russians providing a bounty for Afghan warlords or whoever they are, soldiers, to kill our American soldiers, there's no excuse for that. Absolutely no excuse. It's unacceptable. And there's not a but if you're going to look at our young children that have gone into a senseless war with no definition, no exit plan, no, hey, this is what we're going to do. Now, there's always the opportunity that you have called agree or disagree. We went into Iraq and we didn't get the oil. We went into Iraq and they threw a shoe at Bush. I mean, we rebuilt Iraq. We built schools, power plants, okay? The list goes on of what we did there. We left we left our kids' blood on the soil. Now, when we had to increase the troops, if you'll go back, okay, and you look at Iraq, and you look at our kids being killed, and it was during the Obama administration, and right at the end of the Bush administration. I think if you're new to the show, let's not say Democratic or Republican. let's just say the facts are, I'm not a George W. Bush fan, and you know that. And it's not being anti-Republican. That being said, go back and look at how many of our kids were killed by Iranians. Look to see who has the biggest influence in Iraq today. See how many of our kids, see how many of the Iranian soldiers went in Iraq or training or whatever. Don't start picking me apart. Look at how many of our kids were killed by Iranians. Okay? Did they ever take Obama to task for that? Well, maybe some media tried to, but no, it never went anywhere. Never went anywhere. Look at that. Look at Syria. Okay? Look at ISIS. But now, we allegedly, and I'm not saying it didn't happen, but we allegedly have a story from the intelligence department leaks. Okay? Many feel that Vidman, the whistleblower, had his whistleblower, everything was written up by Adam Schiff's office. That's an opinion. A lot of people think that, and there may be some evidence that Adam Schiff knew Vidman, and that the guy that was inside that used to work for, who did he work for? Anyhow, going back, okay? So our national intelligence, okay, all the groups that give the president a briefing, I don't know this, I don't know 100% how it works, but they give the president a daily briefing, okay? They continually let the president know, and I'm going to call it A, B, and C. Here's A. You got a busy schedule today, Mr. President. This is the A items. B, we'd like for you to look at. C, we're working on. We'll bring to you when they elevate to an A. I don't know, okay? But Russian bounty for our kids to be killed by Afghan soldiers, that doesn't, quote, constitute, okay? That doesn't, quote, constitute, that Trump and Putin are like this. And the takeaway this morning I want you to remember is, while Iran, now listen to me very close, while Iran was participating in killing our kids, okay, while Iran was and is to this day the largest financial sponsor of terrorism across the world, why Iran were, redundant, killing our kids in Iraq, John Kerry and Barack Hussein Obama were working out a nuclear deal with Iran. One of the worst deals ever in history. So if you go back and you look at the timing, there may have been Iranian soldiers, kids that were killed at the same time that John Kerry and Barack Obama were negotiating with Iran. They didn't push back. The same time Iran was yelling death to America, we dropped a pallet of cash. They took 50, is it 50 or 52? 52. Where am I at here? They took 50 Americans hostage. We froze their assets in New York. So what we did is Barack Hussein Obama ended up giving back their bank accounts with interest. Just saying. With interest. But no, the media has totally attacked and come after Donald J. Trump, our president of the United States, for allegedly bounty. Now, bounty on our American soldiers. let me just say this. And again, I'm trying to say this in no way defending the Russians. My God, in no way I'm defending the Russians. But let me just say this. Do a little research at what our CIA has done throughout the world in the past. Do just a little research of what the CIA has done, okay? Let me just go over this really quick. I want to run through these pictures. You got number 37, and I want to highlight these really quick. Number 37 is, for Trump, June was the darkest of months. Now, we talked about the convention and what they're trying to do. Number 38, no job numbers this morning. Very, very little. If within 1 hour of CNN and MSNBC, I'll just use those, within an hour, if they put 3 minutes into the job numbers, right? They're putting more time into trying to scare you back into the house. Number 38, internal GOP polling shows Trump losing ground in number of states. This is what they got before 4th of July. Number 39, why June was such a terrible month for Trump. In addition to public surveys showing him losing decisively, New York Times, decisively, to Joseph R. Biden Jr. in a number of battleground states, private Republican polls in recent weeks show the president struggling even in conservative states. We have showed you that is not true. That's not true, folks. Not true. Number 40, Donald Trump has a secret plan to win. A smear campaign to paint Biden as cognitively unfit aims to push those voters towards a third party candidate, or more likely give up and sit out the election. I've told you why I feel the Democrats do not want to have a convention and want a virtual convention. Okay. The cognitive exam, you keep hearing that. And the New York Times, number 41, Trump passed a cognitive exam. What does that really mean? To assess attention and concentration. I'm gone already. I have no chance in this. My attention span, squirrel. Concentration. Now concentrate. Juice. No, concentrate. My kids, listen, when you go to cognitive functions, my grade school teachers, my grammar school, whatever you're calling it, okay? I have heard somebody say to me since I was 6 years old, pay attention and concentrate. I'm shocked. The subjects are to read a list of 5 digits and asked to repeat them in the order they were provided. Other exercises include drawing a clock with the hands pointing 11:10 and identifying a lion. There he is, Leo. A lion, rhino, not a rhino, and a camel. You know what they always say? You got to keep your camel wet. A perfect score is 30. A score from 26 to 30 is considered normal. I know what I'm doing this week. I'm taking my cognitive function test. See if I wonder if I can come back Monday and report normal. BKP, normal. My test came in normal. 42, Joe Biden says he is eager to compare his cognitive capabilities against Trump. Now, I will say this. For all my Democratic friends out there, I have some. If your candidate keeps coming out and has to read from a teleprompter, okay? Now, let me say this, okay? I just like to highlight the facts. When President Donald J. Trump heads for Marine One and he stops and addresses the press, he just goes like this, like this, like this, like this. No teleprompter. None. Whatever they want to ask. Okay? Period. when he goes to a press conference, whatever they want to ask, if your candidate keeps going to a podium that has teleprompters, that have the answers loaded, that he looks to the left and right and reads, you know that they have pre-scripted the answers and that the questions came in early and he knows exactly what to answer. Now, I will tell you this, okay? They probably have him saying, just read. Okay, remember, Joe Biden said as president he would give Dr. Fauci 100% access to the Oval Office, and he will follow the doctor's orders. So here's number 45. This is a BBC radio interview. Justin Webb, you've been losing the battle, haven't you already? Are you losing? Fauci says, Dr. Fauci, admittingly, yes, we have. We lost. Fauci said it. We cannot give up because it appears that we're losing the battle. We've got to continue to try to educate people, manipulate, mind control. Just saying, educate people, but not in a way where you look down on them, but to try to get them to understand the importance of the evidence. Okay. Number 46, to close it, getting close to the end of the day here. Trump says COVID-19 crisis is being handled as U.S. sets new record case. Okay. Here's number 48. 9 more NBA players test positive for coronavirus. Right. How about this one? Indictment of Maxwell, number 49. Southern District of New York case over Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking ring. We'll have more on that Monday. We're going to study that, read up on it, see what's really going on there. Number 50, the acting U.S. District Attorney. Okay. Don't you find it interesting that the acting U.S. District Attorney, 2 weeks after they fired the district attorney, found her in New Hampshire, not in Paris, New Hampshire. 57, all the bounty. Adam Schiff, does America believe anything from this guy any longer? Schiff learned of Russian bounty intelligence in February, withheld information from Congress, and took no action. Schiff's out front demanding everybody be briefed. One of his daily briefings in the intelligence community was just this. And, you know, them saying, we're working on this. I know I had a video that I was going to play, but we don't have time for that today. And we want to leave letting you know that record jobs gains for 4.8 million in June, number 56, smashes expectation. Unemployment rate fell from 13.1. It was 13.1. It went on. The expectations was around 12.3. It's down to 11.1. Okay. 11.1 is the unemployment rate. They're just not seeing that as good news. And let me close by, you remember we reported earlier in the week, and I don't know where you'll hear this at today. A 16-year-old African-American young man was killed in Seattle. Enough of this BS of chop. He was killed in Seattle, okay, in a lawless, autonomous zone. The dad is upset. Trump called the dad. President Donald Trump called Horace Lorenzo Anderson Sr. on Thursday to offer his condolences over the death of his son. Horace Lorenzo Anderson Jr., who was shot and killed in Seattle's Capitol Hill occupied protest area. I'm your host, BKP. Look, have a happy Independence Day. Okay? We're down, but not out. Okay? And, you know, I wrote this as liberal as it sounds. This could sound liberal. You know, I was thinking this morning, I just wrote this down. So we don't see the world in the same way. So we don't see the world. So we don't see the world in the same way. but we live in the same world. Come on, man. Really? This has got to stop. I'm your host, BKP. Can't wait to get back Monday. Enjoy your weekend. And get ready. Some things going to look a little different in Studio B when I get back. Take us out of here.